Well, we go to media corruption.
What? I'm shocked.
CBS executives slam anchor for asking hard-hitting questions to a known racist.
Now you're an asshole.
And 60 Minutes protects one of its own in the failed Kamala interview.
It's to say that you have the lowest approval rating of any vice president. Well, there are polls that also say I have great approval ratings.
Well, are you retarded?
I'm Jazz Berganzo, and this, the media bullshit. It never ends.
Notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
But it's what's next. Happy Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. Jazz Berganzo, what's next? Your daily dose, common sense, facts, and salts. Hope you guys are feeling good today. Well, after the last 24 hours of a blistering hurricane reaching winds up to 120 miles per hour, it's been bad. Family, friends, and what have you, trying to keep in touch. So far, so good. I hope that you're watching this, that you got family and friends in Florida as well, and you've reached out to them, praying for them to make sure everything is good. But we're still not out of the woods yet. But anyway, on to media corruption, shall I say? Of course, it's been going on as long as as the day is long. But when you are in an election year and the media is trying to do everything in its power to protect one of its own, but at the same time, when you have those who are asking hard-hitting questions who get slammed by the media for asking those hard-hitting questions, it's a damned if you do and damned if you don't scenario. But here we go. This comes out of Breitbart. Nolte, CBS corruption. Anchor shamed for Coates interview, and 60 Minutes rigs Kamala interview. Yes, you got to get it both ways. Far-left CBS News is proving itself to be every bit as corrupt as dishonest as CNN, yes, the cuck news network. In just 1 week, the former news outlet has publicly shamed one of its own anchors for asking objectively reprehensible Ta-Nehisi Coates, who is a known racist, by the way, a couple of challenging questions about his anti-Semitic book. Then CBS former news program 60 Minutes was caught rigging the interview to make sitting Vice President Kamala Harris look somewhat competent. Here's CBS. This is from CBS Mornings.
Our next guest is the acclaimed New York Times best-selling author Ta-Nehisi Coates. His new book, The Message, is a trio of interconnected essays that examine how the stories we tell or avoid telling can shape and even distort our reality. In the book, Coates reflects on his emotional first trip to Africa to visit Dakar, Senegal. Then he takes readers to Columbia, South Carolina, where he reports on the attempted banning of one of his books on race. And finally, Coates travels to the Middle East to witness the Israeli-Palestinian conflict firsthand.
Talented, smart guy. Leave out so much. Why leave out that Israel is surrounded by countries that want to eliminate it? Why leave out that Israel deals with terror groups that want to eliminate it? Why not detail anything of the first and the second intifada, the cafe bombings, the bus bombings, the little kids blown to bits? And is it because you just don't believe that Israel, in any condition, has a right to exist?
Well, I would say the perspective that you just outlined, there is no shortage of that perspective in American media. That's the first thing I would say. I am most concerned always with those who don't have a voice, with those who don't have the ability to talk. I have asked repeatedly in my interviews whether there is a single network, mainstream organization in America with a Palestinian American bureau chief or correspondent who actually has a voice to articulate their part of the world. I've been a reporter for 20 years. The reporters of those who believe more sympathetically about Israel and its right to exist don't have a problem getting their voice out. But what I saw in Palestine, what I saw on the West Bank, what I saw in Haifa in Israel, what I saw in the South Hebron Hills, those were the stories that I have not heard. And those were the stories that I was most occupied with. I wrote a 260-page book. It is not a treatise on the entirety of the conflict between the Palestinians and the Israelis.
Other than being a little gerbil expressing regrets when he should have told every spoiled tyrant at CBS News to go f themselves, the culprit did nothing wrong. That was an excellent interview. But Coates is a left-wing sacred cow, you see. So the corporate media edict is that he's only supposed to be treated as though he is the moral authority on everything that matters. You're not supposed to question or challenge Coates. You are supposed to treat the half-wits every word as though it was a pearl of scripture. While the culprit was being run through the grinder for daring to practice journalism, look at what the very same CBS allowed its disgraced 60 Minutes team to do. 2 versions of the Kamala Harris interview, one the real and one the edited.
Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Gee, no night and day difference there. And this is not the first time 60 Minutes has disgraced itself to save a Democratic presidential candidate from making an ass out of themselves. Back in 2012, 60 Minutes got Barry Obama to admit he knew Benghazi was a premeditated terror attack all along. This meant he had been lying to the American public all along. And what did the venerable 60 Minutes team do with this massive scoop? They completely edited it out, erased it like it never happened. Gee, they memory hold it. Wow, no stories ever that happened before. Oh, but the plot has already thickened. After the Trump campaign cried foul over the interview and demanded CBS to release an unedited transcript of the Harris interview, guess what? The transcript was released without the word salad. Gee, what a surprise. As the above tweet states, there are only 2 possibilities now. CBS is either a phony transcript or the transcript is real, but CBS initially released a phony clip that added all the word salad to Kamala's answer. But if CBS had released a full unedited transcript, Kamala's word salad answer would be found elsewhere in the transcript, and it's not. So this is an unedited transcript. This is Kamala Harris campaign approved transcript. And let's not forget, this is the same CBS News in 60 Minutes that hasn't retracted its lies about Hunter Biden laptop being Russian disinformation. So to sum it up, if you gently ask the anti-Semitic leftists like Ta-Nehisi Coates a few challenging questions, CBS News will publicly shame you until you buckle, until you bend over and grab your ankles. But if you rig an interview to make a Democrat look smarter than she is, well, that's okay. Anti-Semites and Democrats sure got it good, especially at CBS. Should anybody be, again, surprised? No. This is media corruption at its finest, at its mwah. When you have an anchor who dares to ask tough questions to a known racist as Ta-Nehisi Coates, because he is. The fact of the matter is that you can read any one of his books, including his most current one, if you're got the stomach for it and you're closed-minded, then you'll see it. This is a guy who was hired at Marvel. Yes, Marvel Comics to write comics for who? Black Panther. And it was one of the worst selling mags that they ever had. Worst selling books that they ever had. So it's no surprise. A guy who had 0 experience in doing comics, yeah, let's hire him anyway. Why? Because he's a known anti-Semite and racist. So, but then you have the Kamala interview. Failed debacle of an interview. The one thing I give credit is that Bill Whitaker, the interviewer, asked tough questions. He did. He basically put the fire under her ass to answer questions. But in the unedited interview where she kept on tripping over herself and stepping on rakes, over and over again, no. We can't edit everything out, because if we edit everything, we won't have an interview. It'll be Bill Whitaker going, well, I'm Bill Whitaker. This is 60 Minutes, and good night. That's pretty much it. She's a clown, a buffoon. Again, an empty vessel, as I said time and time before, and she must be treated like a clown that she is. And right now she's feeling the heat, and Trump's benefiting from it. Why? Situations like the hurricane, sadly, and of course, interview after debacle of an interview that Kamala's doing. They're loving it, and it shows in the polls.
To hear, look at the polls!
And with that being said, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this, please leave a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.